I'd like to call our regular meeting of City Council for Monday, February 6th, 2023 to order. First order of business is 2 delegations. There's no delegations. 3 late items. Councillor Parslow had something he would like to add, so I will wait for him to push his button. Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about some matters that deal with budget and deal with labour relations. So that requires an in-camera meeting.
Okay. Do I need a second on that, Brenda? Yeah. Yeah, do I have a seconder? Councillor Sudnick. All in favor? Oh, I guess we got to vote. Okay. That's really echoey. Okay, I will call that to vote. The vote's closed. That's carried. Next, we have 4 new councillor business. Just before I get into this, I just wanted to touch base a little bit just on the memos that were sent out about when you have committee meetings filling out a report. So I think there was just a little misunderstanding. So I just wanted to clarify. So the purpose of those forms are for, say, Councillor McDonald has a Chamber of Commerce meeting where he's the liaison for that. He can fill out in bullet points what was talked about, what was went over, so that on agendas, we get a copy of all of that. So if, Councillor Sudnick looks at it and he's like, I want to ask a question about that we can just be a little bit more prepared for it. So it's just about for committees. So when you're attending one of your committees, it's just, to keep us all in the loop on what's going on. It's hard sometimes when you're just giving that update here, and if, Councillor McDonald, not to pick on you, but keeps, brings up stuff that happened at the Chamber of Commerce, you don't have time to think about it if there's questions around it, or if, Councillor Polonio about the library, just stuff like that, just to keep us all a little bit more educated. So the other part of that is if you want to, talk about if you were at events, you don't need to do memos for that. So that still can come under new councillor business. So, and yeah, so I just wanted to kind of give that update too. And then when there is multiple items in there, I noticed once that I just skipped right on to the next part of the agenda. So, if I miss you giving your updates, just point it out to me and stop me so that you can give your updates. So thank you. So 4.1, we have a memo from Councillor McDonald, reason provincial sales tax on fossil fuel combustion systems. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like to have support that council support submission of the following resolution to the 2023 North Central Local Government Association Annual General Meeting and Convention to be hosted in Dawson Creek on May 8th to 12th, 2023. So in regards to the provincial sales tax on fossil fuel combustion systems, whereas in 2022, the BC government initiated a provincial sales tax increase of an extra 5% to be paid on all fossil fuel combustion systems for heating homes, including central forced air furnaces, unit heaters, fireplaces, boilers, storage water heaters, instantaneous water heaters, air conditioners, and all replacement parts for said heating systems or similar systems to those listed. Pardon me. Therefore, be it resolved that the North Central Local Government Association lobby the province of British Columbia to exempt those who live in the northern regions of British Columbia from paying the provincial sales tax surcharge of 5% on fossil fuel combustion systems in consideration of the climate in this geographical area and the inefficiencies of electric heat pumps in heating northern homes when temperatures drop to negative 20 degrees Celsius or below.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councillor Earl. Did you want any discussion to that?
Included in my memo was all the backstory about the inclusion of this surtax. I just think we're being unfairly taxed in the north here just based on our geographical area. And I would like to see the provincial government start taking a little bit more notice to us in the north and realize we cannot paint the whole province with the same brush. We need a special consideration for this tax. And yes, that's where I'm at with that.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship. Just a question to staff. So I think there's no issue with us bringing it directly to NCLGA. I know in years past, we've done the Peace River Local Government Association as a way of workshopping policy prior to NCLGA. Is that still happening, or I haven't heard? Was that kind of just fell off during COVID and it hasn't been picked up again, or?
Kevin?
So through your worship, I'm unaware if that's still active, so I think
Okay.
this is definitely the.
So it's straight to
proper-
end. Okay, cool. No, other than that, I agree with Councilor McDonald. Certainly there is precedent in, at a federal level with the Northern Residents Deduction recognizing the cost of living here in the north for certain things is higher. Also, where there's a requirement for those of us here in this part of the province to have winter tires on our car for a certain portion of the year. So special consideration for geography isn't unheard of, and I think if you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow?
Yeah, I strongly support this motion. As I shared with Kyle the weekend, when I was at UBCM, I attended a number of sessions around energy and sustaining the environment. And I met in a pub with a senior staff member of I may have the wrong title here, the Sustainability Ministry, and talked about heat pumps and how people were getting subsidy from the government for the installation of heat pumps. And what were the plans for the north, since heat pumps do not work here in the north during 6-7 months of the year. And he said that yes, they recognize that, and they recognize that what will have to happen for the north is a hybrid heating system. So continuation with use of fossil fuels and supplemented by heat pumps during those portions of the year. So it seems to me that the one side of the ministry of government is recognizing that we will still be dependent upon fossil fuels. And they are trying to push the southern part of the province away from it, but they're perfectly accepting that we have a different circumstances here. So I think just that information alone adds weight to this motion.
Thank you. Any other discussion? No? Okay. Thanks for bringing this one up, Councillor McDonald. I completely agree with you. So I will call this motion to vote. The vote is closed. That's carried. Any other new councillor business? I almost skipped through it again. Any other new councillor business? Councillor McDonald? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd just like to take this time to congratulate Duncan Malkison and his appointment as the new Executive Director of the Dawson Creek District Chamber of Commerce. I think Duncan's going to do an amazing job with the chamber. It's going to be really great to work as the liaison of this council with him and the chamber. Looking very forward to the future. And at the same time, I just wanted to wish Kathleen Connolly all the best in her new venture, moving on to the Chamber of Fort St. John and District.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I do have one more, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I just wanted to extend a congratulations from myself and council to the Dawson Creek Headpins and their gold medal achievement at the 2023 Special Olympics Provincial Championships for bowling. And also, I'm so sorry, Devin Geese for his gold medalist performance in the men's high single and men's high triple at the provincial championships as well. We have some amazing people in our community and love to congratulate them and see them out there succeeding, representing Dawson Creek.
Awesome, thank you. I agree. I reached out to them on Sunday, congratulating them as well. So it was awesome to see. So thank you for both those. No other new council business? No? Okay. Next will be 5 adoption of minutes, 5.1 minutes of the regular meeting of council on January 23rd, 2023 for adoption. Councillor Kempf, a second. Councillor Apollonio. I'll call that vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Thank you. Any business, 6, business arising. 6.1, we have a memo from Fiona Benson, Executive Assistant, reason 2023 NCLGA AGM and conference logo color change. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will move the proposed motion that the 2023 NCLGA AGM and conference logo color change approved by council via email poll on January 20th, 2023 be ratified.
We have a second. Councillor Apollonio. Discussion. No, I will call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Was there any other business arising? No. Okay. 7, correspondence. 7.1, 2023-24 membership invoice from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. Councillor Parslow.
I move that we pay this invoice.
I have a second. Councillor McDonald. Any discussion?
I'd like to speak to it. If I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, I've attended a couple of FCMs, well, maybe 3. I think we all went to one in Vancouver. And first of all, attendance at the annual conference is something I would recommend to every council member. You network with people by sizes of community. You learn about the problems and challenges municipalities are facing across the country. You learn about some solutions to those problems, some things that have worked. Also, the FCM provides a lobby group also with the federal government. And I think we are a beneficiary. I think every municipality has benefited and continues to benefit from some of the lobbying work. I may be wrong in using this one as an example, and I look to Terry to correct me, but I think some of the success with the gas tax was part of that. But I may be wrong. That might have been lobbying by UBCM with the federal government. But there's one grant, big grant, I think that is administered by UBCM from the feds that we are beneficiary of. But regardless, I think is value in our membership. But I'm kind of curious. Do you have any idea which grant we get as a result of the FCM's work? No? No. Okay, doesn't matter. Sorry.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion? I did have a comment, I guess, about this as well. I find like we have a lot of annual fees that come up with the city, and for this one, it's a little bit higher of an amount. So what exactly do we get out of that? Like, can you still go to these conferences without being a member, or do you need, is that the only, I know they do advocate a bit for cities, but is there more to what we get out of these? Do you know, or? Kevin?
So through your worship, I would assume in order to attend, you're going to have to be a member. That's fairly typical. And then you're going to get the advocacy, like you said, Councillor Parslow mentioned, as well as the ability to network with other municipalities and collaborate on those issues. And so I think that's really the big piece, is probably the advocacy on a federal level for some of those bigger issues, right? To the higher levels of government, and that's essentially what you're funding.
Yeah, okay.
Like the infrastructure.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. I will call that to vote. Vote is closed. That's carried. Next, we have 8 reports. So we got 8.1, we got report number 23-017 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding the 2023 Draft 2 budget report. Anyone? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to move that report number 23-017 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding the 2023 Draft 2 budget report be received, and further, the council approve the 2023 Draft 2 budget as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councillor Kempf, discussion. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I know the receive for information, we're just supposed to use comments in rare instances, but I did want to thank staff for the preparation. Couple things to note is tax revenues down, but PRA allotment is up, which as per the previous council's strategic priorities will go disproportionately towards capital. But I would note for those watching at home or paying attention that if you count capital and debt servicing, which goes towards infrastructure, the split for PRA or capital to operations of PRA money is at 69% capital and debt servicing and 31% operations. So I think that's impressive and something worth noting. And once again, to Terry and her staff in finance, very much appreciative of the work you put into this. This is probably the most important document that comes across our desk. So we appreciate what you've done. And yeah.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Just to clarify, this wasn't, the motion wasn't for information, correct, right? No. No, it wasn't. So there is discussion. Unless presented and information are the same meaning, Brenda.
Yeah, through your worship, the motion here was just for the item to be received.
Okay.
It wasn't not for information.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If council has an amendment to make to what was presented, this is the time to do it before the vote is called.
Thank you. Councillor Parslow?
So I'm just wondering if the finance officer is playing with words there. I'm only kidding, Terry. Because I would congratulate the finance officer if that was her intent, because I'm thoroughly confused whether this is for information or for discussion when you use the word received. So it is for discussion, I take it.
Yes.
So much of my discussion is for in camera, and I'm wondering if the comments and concerns I have, which will be articulated at an in-camera meeting, will have any impact on the budget, and if this is proper that it be received at this time.
Oh, sorry, I missed the last part. Sorry, Councillor Parslow.
I'll ask the corporate officer to.
Oh,
I need to be turned on.
yeah.
Perhaps the corporate officer could restate what I said.
Yeah,
No,
through
I'm
your-
only kidding.
No.
I'm only kidding. That I've asked that we discuss this. There's some matters to
no, I-
discuss in camera, and whether it was proper to receive this whilst we're going to have a discussion in camera that
Okay.
might have a material impact on the budget.
So I will look to Brenda for.
Yeah, through your worship, a motion could be in order to defer this motion until after the in-camera session and then reconvene to the open meeting to finalize the motion regarding the budget. So
then move
just
on.
another motion at this time to defer the item to later in the meeting after the
Okay.
in-camera session.
Okay. Have somebody that'd be willing to make the motion? Counselor Parslow, second, Counselor Earl.
Sure, that'd be good, Charlie.
Okay, I will call that, or is there any discussion on that motion? No? Okay. Okay. I was listening to you, Counselor Parslow. I just was getting my notes ready and I missed the last part of your comment.
Multitasking.
Yeah, I'm not good at it, clearly. Okay, you ready? Okay, I will call this motion to vote. The vote is closed. It's carried. So next on the agenda is 8.2. We have report number 23-022 from the recreational manager of the Great Northern Circle Route Iconic Destination Signage Program. Counselor Parslow?
I move that report number 23022 from the Recreation Manager of Community Services, Great Northern Circle Route Iconic Destination Signage Program be received. Further, the city accept the iconic signage provided by Northern BC Tourism Association as presented within this report. Further, that the city commit to the biannual maintenance and repair costs or replacement costs of the iconic signage.
Thank you, Counselor Parslow. Do I have a second? Counselor Sudnick? Any discussion? Yes.
So in my travels in Western Canada, I have found some of these signages to be like the Northern Connection routes and so on, have been kind of informative. And having spent some time at the Tourist Information Bureau with people coming from afar, I think some have even made reference to the fact, the one that we have the names for the different routes as being something that they kind of follow. So I think this would be something to support and get involved with it as it unifies our northern connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I guess before anywhere else, Aaron, you came all the way upstairs. I might have you just speak a little bit. I know you had some discussion around like some of the concerns of, if there was vandalism or stuff like that you shared with me this morning, if you wanted to just share for everybody.
Sure. So through your worship, I have discussed with the Northern Destination BC and what happens if there is graffiti or anything of that nature. It is supposed to be graffiti proof as well as easy to wash and clean. So just having those cleaned twice a year within the budget as it's shown, it was about $100 twice a year to clean it. If there is damage that is needing replaced, there is a warranty for 10 years. They are thinking that, should be at least 15 years that this that signage will be still in good form. If not, they will come back. There is an option when they always are looking for grants to replace it. It is a gift to the city, however. So if anyone chooses not to replace it, they totally understand and told me that it's entirely recyclable. So they would take it either way.
Thank you. Counselor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to staff. I don't know if you know this. So is this this program, I presume it's through the province of BC or some federal program organized around tourism? Does it And I'm just thinking of like the UNESCO Global Geopark. Does this designation open up any additional opportunities for grants or funding that we might otherwise not be accessible to us? Or
Through your worship. So this is just the one grant that they got through Destination BC. They worked with Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, as well as some others. There is actually the Tumbler Ridge is one of the iconic areas. And so it was part of their master plan. As far as I know, there's not other funding through this.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just for clarification, can you clarify, in your report, it says the signage also includes placeholders for the acknowledgement of traditional territory and treaty lands, Indigenous nations, artwork, language, and interpretive content. Do we get to adjust or do we get to add or?
So through your worship, this was actually already decided upon. There was stakeholder meetings and they actually had a meeting at PRD on September 9th, 2021, where all of this came to the forefront. Tourism, Indigenous tourism was consulted as well. And so through that, they came up with the ideas of what would be in each area. For us, for like artwork wise, they're looking at for our area, it's going to be the moose. The color for the signage is olive gray, and that's to represent our area and like the mountain range, as well as the military that had been through here historically. And that's where they came up with all of this. And they did go back to stakeholders and have these meetings. So.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for reminding me where I've seen this at before. I was trying to think of it the other day, but I was at the regional district and I was part of that bigger presentation. It was pretty unique too, like what they got. There's a lot of different size signs and at very significant places. So it's, very, I don't know, I think it'll be a great thing for the whole area, but it's also very educational too, so. Yeah. All right, if there's nothing else, thank you, Aaron. If there's no other discussion, I will call this motion. Vote is closed and it's carried. Our next order of business is 8.3. We have report number 23-023 from the Development Service Manager. Development of the variance permit 23-01 on 9800 17th Street. Application to vary surfacing requirements for off-street parking. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to move that report number 23-023 from the Development Services Manager regarding the development variance permit 23-01 for 9800 17th Street be received. Further, that the development variance permit number 23-01 for 9800 17th Street be approved and issued, varying the surfacing requirements for off-street parking by allowing gravel as an alternative surfacing material.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Do I have a second? Councillor Sudnick? Discussion? Discussion. I have a bit of discussion just around this. I guess I know that a little familiar with the bylaw on the paving, and I know when a business opens, they have a year to pave, and I know we've varied that in the past, but I feel that, in some areas that, maybe it's something we need to revisit, but I feel like paving is a big part of our community and that we should enforce, parking lots to be paved because it enhances what our community looks like in the beautification. However, in this area, I understand that it's, considered light industrial. It's a little bit different. It is on a main street, but all around it, there is industrial. So, I'll be in favor of this variance for this one, but I just feel moving forward that we need to be a little, stricter within our permitting on, the businesses that we allow to have gravel streets on, all over, whether it's downtown or on Alaska or on 8th Street or, on any that, the bigger purpose of the paving is to, the beautification of our community to make it look a little nicer. It also prevents, gravel, dirt being drug out onto our streets that we have to clean. So there's a bigger purpose to having the paving, but I just wanted to bring that up, just so you're aware of how my head thinks. So thank you. If there's no other discussion, I will call us to vote. The vote is closed. It's carried. Next, we have 8.4, report number 23-024 from the Deputy Corporate Officer, in the Code of Conduct Policy. Councillor Kemp.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 23-024 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding Code of Conduct Policy be received. Further, that Council direct staff to draft a revised Code of Conduct, Council policy that follows the model Code of Conduct Policy and guidelines provided by the Local Government Management Association, and provide the draft to Council at the February 27th Committee of the Whole meeting as a starting point for further review, discussion, and direction.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp. Second, Councillor McDonald. Any discussion? No, I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. Next order of business is 9 bylaws. We have 9.1 Dawson Creek Fire Department Capital Reserve Fund bylaw number 4544, the 2023 for consideration of adoption. A motion to would you like to make a motion? Councillor Earl, second. Councillor Kemp. I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.2, we have fees and charges amendment bylaw number 24546, 2023, building permit fee cap for consideration of adoption. Councillor McDonald, second. Councillor Sudnick, call this to vote. Vote. Councillor Parslow? We're good? Okay. Sorry, Councillor Parslow. The vote is closed. It's carried. Just making sure you were there.
I was late or something.
Yeah. Next, we have report, or 9.3, report number 23-019 from the Development Service Manager, 1636 99 Avenue OCP Amendment, 23-01, bylaw number 4547, 2023, and zoning amendment, 23-01, bylaw number 4548, 2023, for consideration of first and second readings. The motion, Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 23-019 from the Development Services Manager regarding OCP and zoning amendment bylaws relating to 1636 99th Avenue be received. Further, that OCP Amendment 23-01, bylaw number 4547 2023, and zoning amendment 23-01, bylaw number 4548 2023 be given first and second reading.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Sudnick. Any discussion? No, I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. I think it was carried. It flashed pretty quick, yeah. Before I get into 9.4, 9.5, 9.6, I was just going to look to Terry or Kevin just to give a brief overview of what was done here. I know there was some good news things, so just to... Terry?
So through your worship, these bylaws are just formalizing our appropriated surplus. So we have general capital, water capital, sewer capital. So I'm just asking council to approve formalizing a capital bylaw for the reserve so we can be in line with our asset management planning come time.
And this was just previous reserves that we've had, so you're just putting
Not
them in.
reserves, appropriated surpluses. Yeah, so they will be formalized reserves now.
Okay, thank you. All right, 9.4, we have report number 23-018 from the Chief Financial Officer. There's in the General Capital Reserve Fund bylaw number 4549, 2023 for consideration of its first three readings. Councillor Parslow,
I so move.
do you want the recommendation?
Oh, you want me to read the?
Yeah, please.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I would like you to.
I'm refraining from making any. Okay. The report 23018 from the CFO, read General Capital Reserve Fund bylaw number 4549, 2023 be received. Further, that General Capital Reserve Fund bylaw number 4549, 2023 be given first three readings.
Have a second. Councillor Sudnick, any discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, we have 9.5, report number 23-020 from the Chief Financial Officer. He's the Water Capital Reserve Fund bylaw number 4550 for 2023 for consideration of first three readings. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you. I'd like to move that report number 23-020 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding Water Capital Reserve Fund bylaw number 4550, 2023 be received. Further, that Water Capital Reserve Fund bylaw number 4550, 2023 be given first three readings.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. I have a second. Councillor Kemp, any discussion? No, I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, we have 10 mayor's business. So 10.1 mayor's update.
Through your worship, there is 9.6.
Oh, yeah, we'll do 9.6 too. Thank you. 9.6, we have report number 23-021 from the Chief Financial Officer. There's the Sewer Capital Reserve Fund bylaw number 4551, 2023 for consideration of first three readings. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 23-021 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding Sewer Capital Reserve Fund bylaw number 4551, 2023 be received. Further, that Sewer Capital Reserve Fund bylaw number 4551, 2023 be given first three readings.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Do I have a second? Councillor McDonald? Any discussion? Councillor Apolonio, did you want it? No? Okay. I will call this motion to vote. The vote is closed and it's carried. Now I'll go to 10, mayor's business. 10.1, just mayor's update. So first, the mayor's project. When the former mayor was here, Jessica Kimball and him and his worship went around to a bunch of businesses and got pictures taken and did some marketing, got to meet some people. So we started this last week. So it was an awesome morning. I got to start off with the Dawson Creek Co-op. Actually, I didn't start off there. They were second, but Dawson Creek Co-op. I got to meet Rod, the general manager there. And also we went to all of their facilities in town and got to meet all their leadership team. And yeah, it was an amazing thing just to see their inside operation and how the co-op is. I know they've always done a lot in our community, and I've always respected them a lot for what they've done. But it was just nice to see and meet everybody. So it was good. I started the morning off at Our Social, which is Jessica Cooley and Alicia were there. So Those that haven't been there, it's just downtown in the new building. I think it was the old, or beside Dairy Queen. Yeah, the old Prestige. I was dating myself back before then. It used to be something else, but yeah. But yeah, they have such a beautiful venue there too, and very innovative what they have. It's like a a social gathering place. There's different offices in there, businesses. It's a very unique a business, and it's it's very nice in there too. Like it's very modern, and yeah, Jessica and Alicia are, they're just amazing for our community and what they do. So that was good. And then we ended with Fit Physical Therapy with Sam Moxon. So we went over there, and I've known Sam for a while, since he's moved to Dawson Creek in Canada. But he just opened a new place on Alaska Avenue. So that's where we ended. And it was amazing to see his facility and, what he's done in there. And he's doing very well. So it's just overall, just a great thing. And I want to thank Jessica she gives her time to this to give back into the community, and and to showcase these different businesses. And the benefit for me is I get out there and meet people that I've had relationships with, and also new people, and just really see what's working for them, what's not. So it was just a great morning. So I'm looking forward to doing that. We're going to do it. I think it's monthly. We're set up to do it. So second, Make a Difference group. We have our first kind of youth committee meeting on, I think it's February 15th. It's just where, a bunch of youth leaders in our community are going to get together and talk about their different programming. We're also going to have some representation from the city there. But just more to just talk about what these groups are doing for youth in our community, what's working, what's not working. Just make sure there's no overlap, and if there is, just kind of open up the communication gates for them to work together. I've had some dialogue just in outside areas or meetings that I've been at. That's some that are coming to this meeting, and they're really excited about it happening, about them all getting together at one table. So really looking forward to that. So to give a quick update on that, 2023 tourism updates. I think I did update this last time, but I was over at the tourism, their kickoff, I think it was a couple of Thursdays ago, but with Tiffany and Melissa. I'd also had another tourism meeting last week. And it's just, the city has taken over tourism in-house, and I'm very excited about this. Tiffany is, and Melissa, they're both very passionate about tourism and about growing it in Dawson Creek. So they have some unbelievable ideas, and just really looking forward to the future with them and seeing all these come to fruition. So it was exciting. So thank you. Next, Soto. I met with a representative from Soto First Nations. I think it was last week. Just kind of introduce myself, see how things were. A little bit of an update. They do own some land in Dawson Creek, so they own a fairly large parcel just on the outside of Dawson Creek. So we just had some discussion around that, just about our vision as mayor and council, growing those relationships. So it was good. So and we've reached out since then about having some more dialogue and some more meetings with them as well. Hopefully something similar where we went out to Doig and got to meet with their chief and council. We're looking at setting something up similar. So and then next, RCMP Watch Commander meetings. Kevin and myself attended. They had I think a monthly, or maybe it's quarterly Watch Commander meeting. So Kevin and myself just attended this last week, just more to introduce ourselves and thank the RCMP for what they do each and every day in our community, and in our community and everywhere. Just really thanking them for what they do, and that it means a lot to us. We appreciate them getting dressed up and going out every day and dealing with what they do, because it's it's not the easiest position out there. So it was nice just to to be there. We were just there for a couple minutes, so I should say Parker attended too, but he was itching to get out of there as quick as possible. But yeah, no, it was just nice. There was I think there was probably 7 or 8 that attended the meeting. So it was just nice to be there, and they appreciated it coming from mayor and council. So next, Northern Lights College alumni event last week. This was their first annual. The Dawson Creek campus has organized an alumni event that they held at the college, so I got to attend that. It was the one day last week where the weather was kind of a bit miserable, so the turnout maybe wasn't as high as they were anticipating, but it was still a great event and a great venue. You know, I got to meet a few more people with Northern Lights College. Got to hear some stories from some alumni, so it was great to see. And also, I just got to be part of their first one, but I also got to share with them how important Northern Lights College is to our community and what it's done for our community for the 50 plus years that it's been here, that it's a lot more than a college. They're about making our community a better place. And they put that right at the top of their list on everything they do. So to meet Todd I've known a bit. I got to meet Linda from Fort St. John, but I've always valued that relationship, and it's one that I really want to grow. So, I think this is just another avenue of that, and I see a lot more in the future working with Northern Lights College. So, it was great to be at. A couple I didn't have on the list. I also met with Rob Nelson. He's I don't know his exact title. He's with Murphy Oil. Met with him last week just to see how things were going, and just they're very happy with this whole area, and majority of their Canada infrastructure and their position is in this area. So it was just educational to learn a lot about them, and also just show them that we appreciate them being in our community and what they do for our community. Another update, the Attorney General. I just wanted to give a quick update. We haven't heard back from Nikki Sharma yet, but we've been sending out weekly emails, just asking when she'll have time to follow up to her presentation here. So I just wanted to give you guys an update that I'm going to continue doing that weekly until I hear from her or I hear different direction from council. And then I also wanted to, give a shout out to the Special Olympics group. I talked to Jack Walsh yesterday. I don't know if he's the president, but he sits on the board, and he's very active with the Special O. Just really congratulating them, that we're proud of them, and I also invited them to come into council one day when they get back as a delegation, just so we can congratulate them in person. So I've got the opportunity to go actually to the bowling alley and meet with them, and it was just it was an amazing experience. This was a couple months ago, but it was just an amazing experience, and it was just amazing to be part of and see, and the volunteer group that actually goes into the Special O2 and how much time they put in, and to give back, and make this group what it is. It's very heartwarming to see. So. That's all I had for mayor's update. I think before I get into 10.2, I'm just going to call a 5-minute recess, and then we'll go back, start at 10.2. So, thank you. Council meeting for Monday, February 6, 2023, back to order. Next was 10.2. I'm just going to defer 10.2 until after our in-camera. So next will be 10.3. 10.3 memo from Mayor Dober regarding council remuneration vehicle allowance. Councillor Parslow.
I'd like to move that the council remuneration policy be amended to include a $500 a month vehicle allowance for the mayor to compensate for travel within the Peace River Regional District using a personal vehicle.
Have a second? Councillor Earl. I guess I can talk a little bit to it. I did put some notes in there, but previous, the mayor has just expensed kilometers monthly, so doing things around the community and out. And I haven't done that since I started, so I just thought it's just easier, and it's about the same dollar value to have this auto allowance. It's the same as what some of the leadership team at the city have. It's the same amount. and I would do as much traveling, if not more than some, so, yeah, so that's why I wanted to put this forward, so. Is there any other discussion? No? All right, this call us to vote. Vote is closed. That's carried. Next, we have 10.4, a memo from Mayor Dober regarding cross-cultural training. Councillor Parslow.
I move that council direct staff to set up a cross-cultural training session with the First Nations facilitator from Doig River with the required funding of $5,000 provided through the Mayor/Economic Development Officer's 2023 Economic Development Public Relations Budget.
I have a second. Councillor Earl. Any discussion? Councillor Parslow, you can go ahead.
I'd like to speak to this. Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. You know, the truth and reconciliation is something that we as a council and maybe community as a whole need to move forward on. And we also know that through recent settlements and so on, and purchases of land, that we are embarking on a new relationship with our neighbors. And I think it's very important to understand their history, their way of doing things, their spirituality, their history, and also their aspirations. And we enjoyed, as a council, a very informative, good visit to the Doig. And I know that they have a very good cultural training program, so I think this is a good beginning.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Your Worship. Fully agree with that, with everything Councillor Parslow just said. Fully support cross-cultural training sessions, but I just wonder, are we more beneficial if we try and go through the Northern Lights College, and instead of a one-day training session, we're maybe able to set up ongoing training through the Northern Lights College, have them facilitate maybe bringing something from Doig to do training, but at the same time, we can invite others more training, a more in-depth training. Just a thought.
Yeah. I can talk to that a little bit. I did have some more thoughts since I put this motion forward. And we have a meeting with the college actually this week, but it was to discuss this a little bit, and I did speak with you, but also on a different note is if there was, maybe there might be like their leadership team from the Northern Lights College might be interested in attending something like this with us. So I was thinking of, this motion to be up to 5,000, but maybe we could, partner with somebody. I did have some discussion with Fiona this morning. And then the other part of it with Doig River is they have a lot of history in our area as well. So if others are wondering why, it's about Doig River doing this, but they just have a lot. I know out in Rolla, there's some history there, and Pooskoopi, the name of Pooskoopi is actually from one of their elders. So yeah, there's a lot of history of Doig River in this area. But yeah, no, I like that as well. Like we could reach out to the college and see what their thoughts are, but yeah. And I think they say it's about, so this, having them come here for the 5,000, it's about $250 a person roughly is how they kind of budget the expense. And we figured that we might have about 15 to, maybe 20 people. It doesn't go down though. Like if there's only 5 people, it's still that amount. But so that's why I did talk this morning about if we did, maybe partnered with the college. But yeah, I can definitely talk to them about that. So any other discussion? Councillor Earl, did you want to? Or sorry, you look like you wanted to say so. Here.
With respect to, and I'm fully in favor of this. I know in a couple positions I've done, every time I've had the opportunity to do cultural training, it's always been very enlightening. You don't know what you don't know, and I'd welcome the opportunity. I do wonder if, and the reason I was hesitant to ask the question is simply I don't know what their current protocol, like their approach to it is, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but it might be worth inviting some people from other levels of government, be it area D&E or school district. And I don't know if that's going to increase the cost or there's an opportunity there to share the cost around. But, you know, if we're going to marshal these resources in one place, the community, then we might as well see if we can't leverage it to its maximum benefit.
Well, that's a good idea. Thank you. I think if this motion passes, and then we can kind of take a look at all of that. So thank you. Any other discussion? No, I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed. That's carried. Next, we have 10.5, memo from Mayor Dober regarding land acknowledgement. Oh, Councillor Apollonio.
I move that council approve the development of a land acknowledgement statement. Further, that staff be directed to work with council and indigenous people on the area to create a land acknowledgement statement for use at council meetings.
Have a second? Councillor McDonald, any discussion? Oh, okay, I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed. That's carried. Next, we have 10.6, memo from Mayor Dober regarding value-driven economy conference approval. Councillor Earl. Oh, it does.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the proposed motion that one member of council and one member of staff be approved to attend the 2023 Value-Driven Economy Conference. The cost to be paid from the 2023 council travel budget. Further, that the conference attendance council policy be updated to include the annual attendance of the Value-Driven Economy Conference by mayor or designate and the budget adjusted accordingly.
Have a second? Councillor McDonald, any discussion? Councillor Earl, did you want to talk to it?
No, this is the first I've heard of the conference. Thank you for bringing it before us to consider. I don't know if I'd be able to do it this year, but I think, as Councillor Parslow noted, reconciliation is an important focus for the city and for everyone in our region and how we all move forward together. And I think having an increased Indigenous presence in that conversation and making sure we're at the table to learn from it and take part in it's a value. So, thanks.
Thank you. Any discussion? I guess just to touch a little bit on this, when Councillor McDonald and myself were down at the Natural Resource Forum, that's where this conference kind of came up because it was numerous times when we were networking and talking with people, everybody was mentioning to us the value in this conference. I think it was at least 3 or 4 times that I heard it. So when we got back, we looked into it and had Fiona, our amazing executive assistant, look into it, and she got a lot of details, and it seemed like a great thing for us. So that's why we brought it forward. So, yeah. All right, if there's no more discussion, I will call this to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. I guess too, before I went to break, I didn't ask if anybody had any questions on any of my mayor's updates before I go to the next, if there's any. That wasn't intentional. No questions. So next is the 11, the Chief Administrative Officer Operational Update. We have 11.1, verbal update regarding worksite visits. Kevin.
Thank you, through your worship. Just wanted to give council a little bit of update and some of the things I've been busy with over the last month and a half or so is I've made an effort to get out to a number of work sites, and I have a few more to go, but I've visited the fire hall, the pool, the arena, public works, and a few other areas, finance. And really the purpose of that was just to go out, make a connection with everybody, kind of reintroduce myself in my new role. A lot of folks know me, but this is a new role for me, so it's an opportunity to talk about a bit of what I'm hearing from council and the feeling that I'm getting from you and where I see this going, kind of what I'm about, what my expectations are, where I see the organization and where I want it to go. And it's been extremely valuable to have these conversations and to make some connections with folks. And so really my focus and my conversation is kind of focused around a couple of things, and I'll just share them with you real quick, is customer service, culture, and character, and developing positive, respectful relationships. And so for me, those few words, if we tie everything into that, my talk is about creating an organization that people want to be part of, that we can engage in, we can move forward, and having those very positive, respectful relationships are going to take it to another level. So where the value is that when I meet and have these opportunities to engage and get some feedback, and I do appreciate when people feel that it's a safe, open environment that they can engage in. So I was at the pool here a week ago on a Sunday morning at one of their in-services and chatted for a while and got some great feedback. One of it being that they mentioned that they watch council meetings once in a while. And a few meetings ago, there was a comment about maybe that there was some culture issues at the pool, and that maybe we should take a look at that. And so this person who's been at the pool for 8 years said, I was a little taken back by that, because this is actually the best it's ever been at the pool. Everybody's happy to be here. Everybody's comes to work with a smile on their face, and they're really doing their best to try and make the pool a great place. And their suggestion was, have we ever talked to some of the patrons? Have we maybe done a survey of the patrons? Because we feel that, there would be a different perspective if we were getting it from the users. And so I thought that was great that they felt comfortable to bring that up. And so those are things that we're going to look at. And so that's where the value is for me. Now, had I not gone out there and had those discussions, I may never have got that feedback. So anyways, just wanted to provide you that little bit of an update, and those are ongoing, and my goal is to do that twice a year and get out to all the work groups and have those conversations. So other than that, I did provide a little update to council yesterday on our snow and our weather as we go from snow removal to drainage issues and snow squalls, and see what tomorrow brings. Today's a wind warning. So I think the message is that we have extreme weather, and as we like to call it, it's like whiplash events. One thing occurs and then it quickly changes to a different, and it's really forcing us to rethink how we respond to some of these events, because it is challenging. We're thrust into snow removal operations, and before we get halfway through that, we're thrust into drainage and melt and those things. And so, and if this was just a one-off, I guess I would chalk it up as that. But last year we had 2 of these events. This year we've already had a couple, and it just seems to be a new trend. So I do appreciate what staff operationally are doing their best to try and respond to this. So any questions? I'm happy to answer.
Councillor Parslow?
I don't have a question. I just, as a comment, I like your 2 FOTUS statements. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and I'm pleased that you shared the comments you heard from the swimming pool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. I too, Kevin, just want to thank you for what you do. I've had the opportunity to work close with you, and you know, it's nice to see the focus you put into the team and about building that culture. So, and I think by you going out doing these things, you know, shows that that's what it's about to you. So, and it was nice to hear those comments as well, and yeah, just have that open door policy, right, where people can talk to you. So,
Yeah.
so thank you.
Thank
And
you.
a thank you to the team that's dealing with that snow and water out there. So, all right. Next, 12 diary. I think there's nothing in the diary. 13 consent calendar. We have 13.1. We have an email from Paul Adams, Executive Director, BC Rural Health Network, received on January 27th, 2023, regarding advancing rural health in BC. Position papers from the BC Rural Health Network. I guess I didn't need to read that all out, did I? Okay, no motion to accept the consent calendar. Councillor Earl, Councillor Kemp, second. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. I didn't get it. Oh, it's carried. Next, 2022 strategic priorities. I don't know if there's much of an update here besides we have our scheduled for in March for our 2023 strategic priorities. Nothing else there, Kevin? No? Okay.
No, I have a comment.
Okay, sorry. Councillor Parslow?
Yep. So I couldn't let our beloved finance officer through without asking a question. You made reference in our very brief, because we're going to go back to the budget, about the allocation of the PRA, and you stated the combined debt and capital usage of the PRA was 60-something. What was it exactly?
Through your worship, I believe it's 69%.
69%?
I believe, yeah.
So what was the split between the debt and the capital within that 69?
Sorry, just before we go, is this like under strategic priorities or is this going to be
Well,
brought up
yes,
when we?
because I'm wondering if this one has been achieved.
The 70.
Oh,
no, the
okay.
70-30
Sorry, I
hasn't
wasn't sure.
been
Yeah.
achieved in the way I think council. I think council was hoping by 2030 that 70% be allocated to capital. So this year, 55% is 100, like for capital. And
Oh, okay.
14 debt
Yeah.
servicing, yeah.
Just,
So 69%
yeah.
in.
so the tie-in was the 70-30, Darcy. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't meaning to interrupt. I was just clarifying, so. Any other comments under strategic priorities? No? 15 media period, there's no media here. 16 recess to close meeting, so need a motion to go into a closed meeting to discuss the budget and labor relations as per section 91C of the community charter. A second. Councillor Earl. And then just out to the public before we go into in-camera, will be about probably 10 or 15 minutes if you want to log back in afterwards when we deal with the rest of the agenda. So I will call that motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. So we will take as much time as Carl needs and we will 2023 back to order. So back to agenda 8.1, we do have a motion on the floor. And I'm just going to repeat that motion because I wasn't quite ready. So the current motion on the floor is that report number 23-017 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding the 2023 Draft 2 budget report be received. Further, that council approve the 2023 Draft 2 budget as presented. I'll open this up for discussion. Councillor Parslow?
Well, in light of discussion of council, it seems that that motion needs to be amended. Just a comment. I mean, we know that adjustments will be needed, and there's some other discussion that somebody wants to embark on that important topic of the PRA, the Peace River Accord, and the changes in options that council have that the rest of council is probably not aware of. So I will have to vote against this motion because there's other matters that council needs to be aware of in consideration of this budget.
So are you making an amendment, or are you just voicing?
No, I'm choosing to vote against it.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's simpler.
Any other discussion? I had a couple things, Terry. I just wanted to thank you for putting this together, and I know there's lots of hard work that goes into it, so thank you, and well done on it. So I just wanted to talk a little bit, when I was going through it, the PRA debt servicing. So just for some clarity, we're at 55-45. There's also 14% debt servicing. So, you know, in my mind, I'm just having a hard time wrapping it around. So if we're borrowing funds for capital projects, why are we separating that debt servicing out of the PRA? Because if, for example, you know, doing the streets, that's infrastructure and capital that is able to come out of the PRA, capital expenditures. So if we're borrowing for 5 years for that, for example, why would we not put that in? I understand the interest, maybe not, but if we've borrowed $50 million for something, and it's over 10 years, how come we're keeping that separate than capital expenditures? Because it's still a capital expenditure. It just was, we've borrowed the money to do it in today's world.
Through your worship, I 100% agree. It's just the way that it was set up when I had started here. So I never changed the way that this table was set up. So yeah, I mean, you can't long-term borrow unless it is for capital through MFA. So you're absolutely right. If we want to include debt principal in with the capital, then yeah, we would be at 69%. So again, the only reason it's separated is just because that's the way this table was.
But I think like, so we could just change it, because, you know, in my thought process is if that funding is borrowed for capital projects, you know, if some of it's not capital, that's fine to keep it out. But, you know, if there's 14% that is capital, but it's coming out of operational, that doesn't make sense to me because we've borrowed the money. So how do we go about changing that? And I mean, that gets us close to our 70-30, but maybe then we revisit that and it's 80-20 we have to go to. But I just having a hard time when I was reading through all this, wrapping my brain around that and understanding how the debt servicing wouldn't be into capital.
Yeah, so through you, again, I agree. It is capital. And just so you're aware, the debt servicing is only in general. There is no debt servicing for water and sewer in this allocation. So again, if you wanted to, the PRA doesn't normally fund water and sewer because they should be self-sustaining utilities. So I'm happy to change it to be all-encompassing and capital and debt be one.
So from what water and sewer is kept separate anyways, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a different utility commission. It's
No, the general idea of water and sewer is that the water revenue covers water expenses and sewer revenue covers sewer expenses. So the PRA has just always been used for general operations, general capital, not water and sewer.
So is any of our debt servicing from water and sewer?
Yep, not in this table though, not for PRA.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
this is
sorry.
separate. So
This is separate. Just when you see debt servicing, the 14%, that is strictly general capital debt servicing.
okay.
It's a little confusing. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Okay. Oh, there's Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. And to the point you raised, I mean, the only real relevant distinction I can think of that would lead it to be in operations is capital is a one-off expense, whereas when you borrow it, you turn it into an annual obligation you have to service. So that would be why it ends up in operations as opposed to capital. Is that kind of what the rationale might be, or? Because it's, I mean,
Yeah,
I was the one that noted we were at a 69,
Yeah.
31 split if you count debt servicing towards capital. And I think it's an important distinction to understand. But, you know, we did have debt servicing, I think, in operations for that reason, as it is an annual obligation we have to meet as opposed to.
Exactly,
you know,
yeah. You'll have a principal expense and an interest expense in
'Cause, yeah.
operating. Likewise with water and sewer.
One
those
year, if we
functions
come
as
up
well.
short, we can cancel capital, but we are, you know,
Obligated to pay.
obligated to service that debt.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you, Councillor Parslow.
Well, for me, you've opened a bit of a box, so thank you for asking those questions, Mayor. This is I'm beginning to have a bit of a paradigm shift. One of the things that I wanted the council to know about the PRA was that an unprompted, unscheduled chat with staff led to an inquiry of whether the PRA money could be saved for designated capital projects. And I know other municipalities have been doing it. Terry checked, and yes, you can set aside money from PRA for designated capital projects up to 3 times the annual allowance. So that's about $49 million. That's a paradigm shift for the city of Dawson Creek. We have got a capital asset plan evolving. It needs to be funded. And now I'm beginning to wonder, as a result of the mayor's questions, when we look at our target, and maybe this will come up in long-term planning, about the use of the PRA money. We don't set a goal about how much we use a PRA for designated capital projects that are within, let's say, a 15 to 20 year horizon. Just a thought about that, because that gives us a leverage point perhaps in funding that capital asset plan without using local tax money. And so I think with just the background of that 70-30, I've always been a little nervous about the 30, which is debt, okay? Because as Councillor Earl has said, you know, you've got that debt regardless of whether you get any PRA money. And if you lose the PRA money, you've still got the debt. And then that will have to come out of local taxation. And so there's a big vulnerability. But the reason why 70-30 got there, because it was thought that you could possibly do that, right? If you included the 30% debt in the period. If you went 100% just to capital, it was seen that's just an impossibility in the situation we've got ourselves into. So I think we need to really think hard about the opportunities that the new information to the city is about as we move forward with the use of the PRA money. But that might appropriately come up in strategic planning, but to me, it has a profound impact on budget. And I know this is only draft. How many more drafts are we going to have two or another one?
One in public consultation, yeah.
So.
Yeah, so
Your
anyway,
Worship,
thank you.
I just want to clarify that I did speak with the province, asking them about PRA, and so, as Councillor Parslow said, their threshold, which seems to be a magic number, is 3 years of your annual PRA, which is roughly $47 million. However, the city couldn't put that away and not have a future plan. Like the intention of the PRA is to, maintain the infrastructure that industry puts on it. So you could save the city could save, $47 million over 3 years, but in the horizon, in the very near future, you would have to have a large capital project that it was going to. So smaller amounts, like $2-3 million, that's acceptable. But if the city wanted to 100% save the PRA, it would have to be something for, a large capital project.
Yeah. So what you're saying, Terry, is you can, if you wanted to put a couple, like we know, for example, the event center, there's some capital improvements that got to be done. So if we wanted to put that money away for the future 20 years that we know it's going to cost whatever that number is,
Yeah.
we could put that away because it's allocated to that capital expenditure.
I believe so, when they're smaller amounts. So in my email, I wanted clarification. So I said, so it's acceptable for the city to put away $2-3 million for future repairs and maintenance and capital infrastructure in, future years. And she said yes.
So if it's for paving or something, but you just
However,
can't hoard
yeah.
$48 million away
Exactly.
for
And
just some rainy day.
You could hoard it if you had a project in 5 years.
Yeah.
So the city could hoard 3 years of it and then spend it all at once. And again, it's all based on the approval of the, I'm not sure exactly the lady that approves the PRA reporting, but
Yeah.
it's essentially up to her.
Okay, thank you. Any other councillors? Councillor Parslow?
Just add to the point of information as an example. It was discussed a number of years ago about the need to replace the fire hall, public works buildings. We do know that Area D and E entered into an agreement to help fund the fire hall, and they have been squirreling away money for their contribution. And again, I don't know, I'm just using that, the mayor mentioned like the multiplex, yeah. We've got some other things that are also, I got the impression about the fire hall a few years ago was pressing, but we couldn't possibly do it. But our partners have this considerable amount of that money saved up for that project. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? No? Okay, I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. I guess the other part of this report is that we need to maybe get a motion forward about doing a public consultation for the budget. So I don't know if we wanted to just open it up for somebody to make a motion. We were thinking maybe doing it after a council meeting, but the problem is our next council meeting is a committee of the whole, so it'll be probably a very long day already. So I don't know if Councillor Earl, did you want to stab at a motion?
Okay.
Or were you?
I had a
wanting some
couple thoughts. I
information?
mean, my issue with doing it after a meeting is if there's a closed portion, you don't know how long it's going to run, and having people waiting outside. I mean, as in my time here, we've done one or two in the evening, we've done one at lunch, we've done a couple remote, and it doesn't seem to make a huge impact on turnout. So I'm game for whatever. Honestly, but that's my one issue with doing it after a meeting is you can't give people a specific time, or you're stopping the meeting and doing that and then hopping back into a meeting
Yeah.
after you've been
Already a long day.
so. But whatever you decide, I'm good with. But that would be one I would recommend against as far as format goes.
Do we need to set a date right now, Kevin, or can we leave it with staff to come back? If we say like, you know, I never thought of lunch, but that might work for those that have, you know, day jobs. Yeah, during the week, a lunchtime.
Sorry. So through your worship, Tara and I were just looking at the calendar. The week of the 21st to the 24th. So Monday's Family Day, the 20th, and then there's a 21st to 24th, those days in there. That's ahead of the next council meeting. I think it would be ideal if we could do it, obviously here in February, so that looks like it could be maybe the week. So if we get some direction from council about a particular day and a particular time, we can certainly go about organizing that.
Okay, just to put it out there, if somebody's gonna make a motion, I'm not available the 22nd and 23rd. I'm in regional district all day, so if I need to be here, I'll have to be either the 21st or the 24th of that week for me. Oh, we also have the convention in Grand Prairie. What is that? Okay. Well, what's the convention in Grand Prairie is the 22nd, 23rd, right?
22nd, 23rd, yeah.
So to do it on the 21st at lunch, is that like throwing enough? Like you're already taking a couple days off? Is that tough?
Okay, what about it?
What about February 14th?
Valentine's Day?
Joke.
Kevin's away February 14th.
I was kidding.
Oh. Well, do we need all
Oh, this is.
council here? Like, if there's a couple, do we need a quorum? No? Okay. All right, would somebody like to make I'll make a motion that we hold a public consultation on February 21st at 12 o'clock noon. Second, Councillor Parslow. Any discussion? Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship, and sorry to throw a wrinkle into this, just through you to staff. For those who, I know in years past, we provided some sort of online or option for people to send questions through if they're not able to make it in person or something like that. I assume we're going to have similar capacity for this one, just to confirm? Okay, thank you.
All right, any other discussion? No? Okay, I'll call that motion to vote. Oh, sorry, Brenda, were you, do you want me to close it? Okay. No. Sorry. Okay. Manuel, okay. Those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. So our next order of business was 10.2. 10.2 memo from Mayor Dober regarding council remuneration CPI adjustment. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship. I will move the proposed motion that the 2023 adjustment in the council remuneration policy be waived due to the substantial increase in the consumer price index. Further, that the 2023 adjustment be a 2% increase from the 2022 rate.
Do I have a second? Councillor Kemp? Any discussion? I guess just a little bit of background just for those that are listening. The CPI, the council remuneration policy was consumer price index plus 1% annually. And just with the high rate of the consumer price index this year, I think it was set at 6%. That wasn't, you know, the intent, I guess, of the policy, so that's why it was brought back. So for those that are listening, that's why the change, so. All right, if there's no discussion, I'll call this motion to vote. Do I gotta do this manually, Brenda, or, okay. Vote is closed. It's carried 6-1. And that was all, so I will, motion to close. Oh. Okay, we're adjourned? Okay. Need a motion to adjourn? Counselor Earl, second, Counselor Sudnick. All in, I'll call that vote. Counselor Farslow? Did everybody vote? Close?
To adjourn.
And the vote is closed. Just before everybody leaves, I just had a couple things as soon as we're offline.